It's that time again.
Yep. We are Team West Herr.
And you are the most important thing to us.
Team West Herr
Podcast. It's all about the team.
Welcome to another edition of the Team West Herr Podcast. I'm Brad Gelber, joined by my co-host, Reid Ferguson. Reid, always great to see you.
It is great to be back.
So it's a special day. We're recording actually on Monday, which is Veterans Day. And yes. I know that's an important kind of day to you, and you have a background that has to do with veterans, which is pretty great. Before we wanted to extend our thanks to all the active and former military members here, Western New York, on Team West Herr. I know we have quite a few veterans that work for West Herr here, and everyone in general. Obviously, we couldn't be here doing what we're doing, what you do professionally and here, absolutely. And all of us without our veterans. So a really special day that means a lot to a lot of people and a lot of families out there. So pretty cool that we're able to be here and record today.
Absolutely, yeah. It's special. Obviously, you mentioned it. I've got a lot of family that has served, extended family, friends that I've made along the years that have served. So, extremely grateful for what they've done for us in our country, and like you said, giving us the ability to do what we're doing right now.
Yeah. So actually, just not ironically, I would say it's probably timed that way as such, but we'll get to a kind of an event that you have coming up here. But before we jump into that, I just wanted to highlight a little bit about your involvement locally with, veterans. I know Veterans One Stop, I believe, is an organization you've worked with, but just tell us a little bit more about what you've done with them.
Yeah, so it really started, Veterans One Stop Center of Western New York is the main veterans charity that I work here with here in Buffalo. It started, I think my first year, maybe 16 or 17, when I was up here. The league had just started doing the My Cause, My Cleats, sure. And I was kind of searching for an organization that I wanted to support. Pretty new to the charity world, I would say. Didn't do a ton in college. Obviously, not a lot of opportunities for with football related stuff like they do here in the league. Sure. But the Veterans One Stop, I met a couple people from them through the team and got connected with them and did my cleats for them with the My Cause, My Cleats initiative for a couple years, and really just formed a great relationship. And they've been helping me, you hit on it with my event coming up. This is our fourth year doing it, and they've been helping me out with that, putting it together and supporting me. And really, they put the message out to all their their local vets, and they all show up, and it's great. We always get a great crowd, and it's been a huge blessing for me and my family to be able to be involved with Veterans One Stop, for this number of years. And it's been great. We're really looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a great organization.
So obviously, when you reach kind of the NFL or a professional athlete, you kind of have a platform that you're able to do different things with. Some people choose to exercise that. Others are a little more private. For you, what's it meant to be able to kind of take your platform as a professional football player and do something for veterans? Obviously, it means something to you and your family. Yep. How special has that been for you?
Yeah, extremely special. I mean, it's twofold a little bit for me. You are able to use your platform for raising money, sure. on one hand, but on the other hand, and what's really special about my event every year that we've been running is really just getting to meet and shake hands and share stories and listen to the veterans in the area that come out and are happy to share their stories, happy to share their experiences. And some of them, some people just want somebody to talk to. Yeah. A lot of veterans have families. They have, they're in good, I say a working condition. They're in a good mental state, and some are not. And some come out to the event to see other veterans, to meet myself and some of my teammates that come by and visit and really just listen to them and try to share a good word with them. So that's kind of been the best part of it for me. We've raised a lot of money over the years for Veterans One Stop. That's fantastic. They have done a great job in the community. But the thing that really sticks with me is the relationships that I've formed, the people I've met over the years that come to my event every year, and I see them at games, on social media, and, across the board. And that's really been the most special thing for me, I think.
And I think something cool, at least from my perspective, getting to know you more, is being such an approachable, down-to-earth guy. Like, I feel like a lot of fans feel through social media and maybe at your events or Buffalo gatherings, things like that, they've gotten a chance to really know you. And then when they cheer for you on the field, it's like a friend out there kind of doing their thing. And then they can, come back and support you in these ways with your events and organization.
Definitely. And I think, the team does a great job of presenting some opportunities to get out there in the community, to show your face, to get to know people. I think, Dion is kind of the lead guy in charge in terms of like community engagement. That dude is out there. Like, I think once maybe twice a week, he's doing something out in the community, whether it's, at a Sabres game or, at an event downtown or wherever he's going. So he's kind of, I guess, the face of the community engagement area for the team. But, he brings a lot of guys with him, young guys, new guys to the team, older guys that have been here. And like you said, it really people can put a name to a face. It's not just somebody you're watching on Sundays with a helmet on, right? You're getting to know people, like a human being. We're humans just as much as anybody else is. So, and it means a lot to the guys as well to be able to connect with people, kids, most of the, a lot of the time, but adults as well that are happy to. Just like I said, form a good relationship and somebody that you can cheer for on Sunday.
Sure. All right. So your event is called Thank A Vet BBQ, correct?
Yep.
So it's coming up on November 16th. For the people watching, listening, tell them a little bit about what's going to be happening and how they can maybe get more info on the event.
Yeah. So this Saturday before the Kansas City game, we will be hosting our 4th annual Thank A Vet BBQ at First Line Brewing in Orchard Park. It's been there for every year, and I think last year we got probably 250, maybe 300 people that came through for the 3 or 4 hours that we're there. It starts at noon. If you're a veteran, you get a free plate of barbecue, and if you are just a normal patron or family of a veteran and you want to come by, you can purchase a meal ticket. And that money gets donated straight back to Veterans One Stop Center of Western New York. So it's a great time. It really is. We have a lot of fun. Like I said, I'm walking around almost the whole time, meeting people, saying hi, taking pictures, and sharing stories. Listening to people, and just really having a good time. And it's been we've gotten a great turnout, and it's really become one of the things that I look forward to most during the season, apart from playing on game day. So really looking forward to it. I think we're gonna have a great turnout this year, and can't wait. We're gonna have Mission Barbecue.
Nice.
They came last year and provided the food. It was fantastic. I think we ended up with a lot of leftovers, so we gave some to the staff, and I think they took some extra to the local firefighting department.
Awesome.
It's the banana pudding, I might say, is amazing. So if you want some good banana pudding,
be there.
Be at First Line Brewing on Saturday at 12 noon. So we're looking forward to it. It's going to be great.
Awesome. And obviously, if you guys follow Reid on his social media channels, I know you've been sharing information on it there that they can find it as well. Just to clarify, there will be no Kansas City barbecue at this event, correct?
No Kansas City barbecue. There will be a release of the guys over at First Line. I've known them for a while. We created it's called a Mr. Nice IPA.
Okay.
And they are re-releasing it. It came out a couple years ago. It was on tap for a while. Did really well for them. People loved it, and we're re-releasing a new version at the event on Saturday. So come partake. Yes. Portion of those proceeds also go back to charity as well. So really looking forward to it. It's gonna be a great time.
Awesome. Sounds like it. So a good deed for the community there, but it'll also be a fun event.
Definitely.
So.
Yeah.
All right. So obviously we could go on and talk more about veterans, again, what they mean to us. But, again, thank you to all those who have served. We're going to transition now to a little bit of football, since that's what we do here on the Team West Herr podcast. Last time we met, I think I made a joke. I said that if the team keeps winning, we're going to have to start filming every week, and we've kept winning. So I guess we'll see about that. But Buffalo now sits at 8-2, only behind the aforementioned Kansas City. They're in the AFC at 9-0, and are way ahead in the division still. I think, over 5 games lead there in the division. I know it's kind of a slew of 3 games to talk about here, so we can't hit on every single game, but obviously
I've got plenty to say about all 3.
I'm sure you do. So fire away. I mean, what do you want to talk about first?
I think the one piece of so the first game, obviously, since we recorded last, is the Seattle game. I mean, gosh, what a game. Ton of fun.
Your first time there, I think.
First time in Seattle. That was fantastic. Had some amazing seafood, fresh. I guess right off the, right,
well, the ones
right from the market there. We stayed a little too far away from the market to go visit. I really wanted to go visit. The timing didn't work out, but got some really great sushi and seafood. It was fantastic. I was like, checked a huge box. That was exactly what I wanted when we went out there.
And got the win.
And got the win, of course. Yeah, check that box as well. But that was my first time playing there. I have not played anywhere else where it felt like a Buffalo weather trend game than I did at that stadium.
All right.
Rain on and off, wind up and down. It felt like it was almost like we were almost playing at home.
Sure.
And I don't know if that helped us play as well as we did that game or not, but like it would start raining real heavy and then it would stop. And then it would get windy, and then it would stop. It was super weird, but very cool. Tons of Bills Mafia out there.
Yeah, it looked like it.
Fantastic showing. Felt like the whole. You saw the a lot of the social media posts after the game, the videos of the fans up in the stands. A lot of the Seattle fans had left by then, but it was fantastic. That makes us feel so great after the game, being able to run, as we're walking off the field, shaking hands, and then, going into the tunnel and you just see, you're walking into this tiny tunnel in the corner of the end zone and you just see a sea of like blue and red around,
especially
same
when
thing happened in
away.
Indianapolis this weekend, which we'll get to, but it was just amazing. Just a great showing. I don't know how many people officially there were, maybe 25, 30. Out of that, it was a big stadium, but pretty cool. It was a great trip, overall great trip.
Yeah, and I remember we were joking with you and James on the last podcast just how far of a trip that it is to fly. It feels like it's just as far as when you go to play in London. So for there to be that many fans out there, I think just reinforces that, there's no one quite like, the Bills Mafia there.
And James ended up having, we recorded with him that week, right? So, and they had a great game, a couple touchdowns, I think, over 100 yards. So, Maybe you should come back on.
Yeah, probably. So then we went to Miami after that, or played Miami. And, we don't need to harp on your poor brother there, but that's come up quite a few times. There's been a bit of a slanted record in your favor there. But what was it like to, see him? And I know you kind of get the family involved for that game a little bit.
Yeah, it was great. So. Family was up, like you said. Those are 2 games on the schedule that the parents don't have to worry about splitting up, deciding where they want to go that weekend. So, it was great. Nice to add another win, a division win at home, right? Those are, you talk about what's our goal every season, win the division, win the Super Bowl, host a playoff game. Home games are, win your home games is the first way to get there. Winning your home division games is really where those wins help you stack up to get the division. So it was a great win. Obviously capped off with just a fantastic kick by Tyler by I call him T-Bass. Tyler Bass sounds weird coming out of my mouth, but fantastic 61-yarder there by T-Bass at the end, and I think I blacked out after. I was like, "What just happened?" But that was. I mean, it was. gosh, a great game.
Yeah.
Really back and forth.
And it was one of those games, I think, too, that's important because, we've seen this team kind of become more holistic in the sense that there tends to be balance, and we talk about complementary football, but that was one of those games, I think, where people just assumed you guys would roll in and kind of crush them because of the way the division is. And I've learned a lot from you in the time we've been doing the podcast is no division game is an easy game. Forget records, forget anything. Tua's back, obviously chip on his shoulder. He's talked about it continuously, and almost the way you guys talk about sometimes Kansas City, it's to him, it's until we beat Buffalo, they're the top dog. And then that game was offense pretty extent. It was back and forth kind of. We've seen that before with Josh and the offense kind of matching blows there. And then, for Tyler to go out there, I guess, walk us through the end there. And I know maybe you said you blacked out, but maybe leading up to the kick, because, a 61-yarder, especially for a guy that's maybe been struggling a little bit, it shows McDermott means what he says when he says, I have not lost faith in Tyler Bass to send him out there. I know we've talked about kicks have got longer, and maybe when you get into the upper 50s, you start talking okay, it's a little more difficult, but 61, I don't care what year it is, that's not an easy kick to make. So what led up to that moment there?
He missed a extra point. I think he may have missed a field goal as well. So props to coach for sending us out there and having the faith in him. Nobody on that sideline thought he was going to miss.
Sure.
We all go out there every single time thinking he's going to make it and having full faith in him to make it, because we've seen him make those kicks.
Sure.
And we've made those kicks in practice. We made those kicks, practicing in the stadium. The odd thing is, and I got interviewed after the game and hit on it a little bit. For people that aren't too familiar, if you are a season ticket holder or if you go to every game, you may realize it a little bit, but the wind in our stadium can be a lot, right? So normally it comes off the lake, through it kind of blows to the tunnel side and the scoreboard side. It blows through the left of the scoreboard.
Sure.
So when you're talking about which way do you want to kick in the fourth quarter, stuff like that, the nitty gritty of strategy. Most of the time, most teams, you can look back historically, usually everybody is going to take the wind in the fourth, and usually in our stadium, it blows towards the tunnel.
Sure.
Just coming in from the scoreboard side. So, it was a little bit of a weird wind that day. It was coming basically opposite of where it normally comes from. And we felt good going that way, going towards the scoreboard in the fourth. Tyler had kicked at halftime. He said, figured that he wanted the win in the fourth going towards the scoreboard. So, made that call. So, when you, I'm just saying, you take a step back, you look at the bigger picture. I am not sure when you're going to see a kick made from that distance going towards the scoreboard in that stadium, given there's only a year and a half left, year and a half left of that stadium. I'm not sure the next time you're going to see that happen again. So pretty cool. Just, I think it was, third and 9, 3rd and 10 there with about, I don't know, 15 seconds left.
Very little time.
And Josh threw it out of bounds, and I think we were on the 43-yard line, and I was looking. I looked back, are we going to kick it? Looking for the field goal sign, and T-Bass was already out there on the field. I was like, all right, I guess we're kicking it. So here we go. But yeah, no, it was just an incredible moment for Tyler, and just really cool. I'm so happy for him, and just to see him overcome kind of the last 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks for him, has, and he'll tell you, has been tough. And but he's kept with it. he stayed within himself and hasn't changed who he is.
Yeah, watching it as a fan, I think there was a lot of people on social media that were deleting tweets pretty quickly after he made that one, because, it's one of those things where it's easy to pile on a guy when he's struggling and then he wins it like that. I know Josh Allen said after the game, I think he said like a little prayer for him right before, because of how much it meant to him. And it was really cool. And we've seen this before. I remember back to, last year, even I think it was DeMar's first game back or his first interception. We talked about that. There's moments where you see, I think, what Brandon Beane and Sean McDermott are building in this team, that chemistry, that camaraderie. And for the moment like that, to see the guys kind of flood the field like that, it was cool to watch it in the replay, because I could see you and Sam, your reactions, and you guys were like screaming. It seemed like, it was probably just the moment. You're just so happy for the guy, and he's pumped. But for it to be a walk-off game winner like that too is kind of a, I think Josh said it's like a storybook moment like that.
Definitely was. And you practice so much. You would do so many reps, thousands of, field goal operation reps a year throughout the off-season training camp, during the week, every week, during the season. You're getting so many reps. And, it's one thing for, you go out there, you kick an extra point, and you just shrug it off and say, we've done it a million times. But to see all that work come to fruition with a 61-yard game winner, it means I say a little more. It means a lot more. Yeah. Just to kind of feel, I guess, I don't know if redemption. Sure. It's not the right word, but like, satisfaction with your work, I guess. Yeah. It was awesome. Pretty cool.
And before we transition to the Indy game, I think the last thing was watching, the Bills put out on social media kind of the game ball, or the moments after with Sean McDermott, and he awarded that to Tyler Bass, and seeing, I think, Tyler get emotional in that moment. It's hard a lot of time as, guys, football players are supposed to be tough guys, and it's hard to show emotion, but sometimes in the moments, like you said already, we're human beings, you can't help it. What was that like in that locker room when that moment he got the game ball?
Yeah, it was special, and kudos to him for getting up and talking. Not a lot of guys when they get the game ball will say much, if anything at all. But you could really tell what it meant to him, and I'm glad that the team put it out. I think it's people, myself included, like seeing the raw emotion from the people that cheer for on Sunday, right? And going back to what we talked about earlier, I think it helps you connect a little bit with the person, even though you may not know him, and you just see a video of him. So, you could tell how much it meant to him, and I'm glad that he was able to take a moment and share that with the team, because everybody has had his back, and like I said, it was a great moment to just see him overcome kind of what he's been going through.
Yeah, so obviously one special teams player of the week for the AFC after that. Yep. And then we just talked about kind of before we started filming, could perhaps be in contention for that again, because we roll into the Indy game here, and another perfect day for him on field goals and extra points. So.
Yeah, 3 for 3, I think, on field goals, 3 for 3 extra points. If you look historically at special teams player of the week, unless somebody kind of scores a return touchdown or something, if you go 6 for 6, you got a pretty good chance of making it. So I don't know if the league's going to give it to the same guy 2 weeks in a row, but we'll see. We'll find out. Maybe I think on Wednesday is when they announce it. So we'll see.
Does Tyler cut the award into thirds, because you have to snap the ball, Sam has to hold the ball, and he kicks it? I joking aside, I'm sure he gives you guys quite a lot of credit.
He definitely does.
The kicker is going to get the glory, and also the hate a little bit if it's not going well. So, but I'm sure he gives you your kudos there. Yeah,
it comes with the territory, of the job as a kicker. Yep. But no, he definitely appreciates us, and we appreciate his appreciation. I guess that sounds funny, but no, he does a great job, and we love him for it. But yeah, he's gotten. I didn't realize this. That was his first Special Teams Player of the Week award.
Okay.
In his career, he's gotten Special Teams Player of the Month.
Okay.
A few times. Yep. which I knew that, but didn't realize that was his first one, his first weekly award.
Sure.
So pretty cool.
Yeah.
I guess a little tidbit to add there.
Nice.
Yeah.
So obviously, just the Colts game as a whole, another one of those where it was a little bit back and forth in the beginning, and you got Joe Flacco coming in at quarterback. Their guy's been around seemingly forever, and he made some mistakes, and Josh had some plays he probably wanted back, and it kind of went back and forth, and then the Colts were able to score, and then you guys evened things out, and then in the second half they're kind of pulled away a little bit, which seems to maybe be the trend of late. There's sometimes a little bit of back and forth early on, and then you guys kind of get your footing and take off. So how did you feel yesterday when? And I know it's kind of a unique place to play as well, and Lucas Oil Stadium out there in Indy. So
yeah, that was one of my favorite stadiums to play in. I've only played there twice now, but one of my favorites. Such a cool spot. I grew up a big Peyton Manning fan, not the same stadium, but kind of it looks very similar to kind of what I grew up watching a lot on TV. So pretty cool, and they have great fans, and once again, Bills Mafia traveled in abundance, and it was just fantastic to see that. Which I'm sure, it's not a frequent away game that we get a ton, so I'm sure a lot of people were excited, kind of like the Seattle game, to travel and go watch us. So, very cool on that aspect. But I think, you hit on it a few minutes ago, the team is becoming, kind of more of a holistic approach with the complementary football thing that Coach hits on a lot. You don't have to look very far. You look at the first drive, the offense gets, I think, maybe 1 or 2 first downs, end up punting near midfield. Sam pins them deep, I think around the 10-yard line. And the first play is a pick six, right? So you get them backed up. They kind of feel like they got to, they're under pressure a little bit, got to get out of there. And quarterback makes a mistake. Taryn takes it all the way across for a touchdown. And that's just a perfect encapsulation of complementary football and what you're looking for on a Sunday afternoon. So, proud of the guys. Defense really showed up. I think we had 4 turnovers.
Yeah, that was crazy.
So, I think we had, we had 2 ourselves. So, but anytime you're plus 1, plus 2 in the turnover margin, you're really setting yourself up for success in that area of the field. So, it was a lot of fun to sit back and watch the offense do well. Missing a couple guys, but still put up a healthy amount of points. So, always love to see that. T-Bass, like we said, had a great game. Yep. Sam had a great game, which those are my guys. Yeah. So I love,
Reid had a great game. You won't say it.
I'm not going to say it. I love to see them do well because, firsthand, see how hard they work during the week. But, it was just a good all around game, complimentary game. Yep. Defense helped us pull away there at the end with some of those turnovers. And I think we had a fourth down stop, maybe 1 or 2 of those in the second half. And
Quentin Jefferson,
sack fumble. Quentin Jefferson, welcome back. Yeah, very cool. So good to have him back. Good to have Big Phil back. Yeah, 2 guys that bring a lot of juice. So it was just a great overall, kind of like Seattle. Obviously, like Miami, just a great game day experience.
Yeah, and I think one stat they kept mentioning on the broadcast, which I'm sorry, I'm going to say it one more time, but it was interesting, was the Bills' first win in Indy since 1998, which was Doug Flutie versus, who you already mentioned, Peyton Manning. And they showed the clip after the game of Doug Flutie running up to him, and Peyton looked so young on the field.
I think that might have been his rookie year.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, sounds right. That sounds about right. So. Yeah, that's crazy.
Wow, but that streak's been snapped now.
Yeah.
So
did they say how many games it had been?
I don't know how many times you guys have played there since then.
Handful,
but that's a long time.
Yeah, it is a long time.
I'd have to imagine
that is a long time.
And actually, back then, one extra point there, Indy was in the AFC East at the time, so they were in the division.
Wow.
So that was a division win back then.
Interesting.
So times change, but yeah.
Okay. Fascinating.
Yeah, you learn something when you listen to the Team West Herr podcast.
Absolutely.
So then obviously something, I guess before we get to the point of Kansas City here,
sure.
We just talked about injuries and some guys coming back. Hopefully, we get some guys back on the offensive side. I know Keon Coleman was out. Amari Cooper's been out a couple weeks, so some pieces perhaps be nice to get back for Kansas City. But one guy that just kind of the news just came up before we started recording here on the defensive side is it looks like they've opened up the practice window for linebacker Matt Milano, who no stranger to this, is one of the best players in the league, let alone the team. So McDermott said he will not play versus Kansas City, but good news that he's even going to start practicing.
Yeah, absolutely.
So.
Yeah, he's obviously, he's been traveling with us, been rehabbing a ton. He's been around us the whole time, all season. So, it goes without saying his presence is going to be very welcomed when he comes back. So, it's him and Terrell last year for the handful of games that they played together. We're elite, I would say. So it's going to be, Dorian has done a great job. I'm sure Dorian is going to still get some run there on the defense. But Buffalo fans across the board are going to be excited that Matt's coming back.
Absolutely. So, like we talked about, the Kansas City game is next on the docket. That's something where no one's a stranger to this rivalry at this point. If you follow the Bills, there's a history now at this point. So for you guys, I know anytime we talk about this, it's the next game up, and that's just how it is. You have to attack it that way. But it is in Buffalo, so that's you guys always prefer to be at home in front of the fans. And let's not beat around the bush here. You've had some success in the regular season versus Kansas City the last couple of years. So Patrick Mahomes and those guys are coming here. What's it going to take to serve them their first loss? Because at this point they're 9-0, and I'd love to hear your take on kind of how their game ended yesterday with that blocked field goal from 35 yards, I think, versus Denver. But I guess let's hear about that, and then what do we got to do here to keep the train rolling? Yeah,
I think they are a great football team. They will continue to be a great football team with Mahomes back there and Andy Reid, coaching them. And the guys he's got around him. So, they've got a very good defense, obviously undefeated for a reason. They keep finding ways to win. And sometimes that's what you have to do. Right. Is there luck involved? Sure. Mm-hmm. There's luck involved. Every team gets lucky at some point. But, like you said, it's just another game. Yep. It is, it's a conference opponent, and we understand what that means. But, in the grand scheme of things, we've got to win. We're trying to go 1-0 every week. Right. And I know that sounds cliche, but it really is true. And that's kind of how we, like you mentioned, we approach it. We've had some success against them during the regular season. And that, that's how we're going to wake up on Wednesday and go to practice. Yep. We're trying to go 1-0 and beat Kansas City regardless of whatever their record is. If they had the same record as us, if they were a game behind us, we'd still be looking at the same at this game the same way. So, it's going to be a good challenge. They've got three offense, defense, special teams. They're great across the board. And speaking on the Denver block kick, right? Saw that after the game yesterday. You dig a little deeper, you can see a couple reps throughout the game. That left side, they kept hitting that same guy on the left side all game long. Yep. So, to the naked eye, if you're looking at that one play, in a vacuum, you could say, how does that guy, how does that happen? Yeah. But if you go back and look at it, they were obviously game planning to kind of attack that left side of that Denver line. And, unfortunately for Denver, it all came to fruition at the worst possible point in the game. But that's a test. But again, you look at the flip side. That's a testament to Kansas City and their coaching, and their special teams and their ability to make the plays when they matter and make the plays when it counts, which is one score game late in the fourth quarter. Yep. And they keep finding ways to win. So, like I said, great challenge ahead. We're looking forward to it. Those 4:25 kickoff. Yep. Apart from a 1 o'clock, that 4:25 is a great time slot, especially right there around the sunset time. So it's gonna be great. I know the stadium is gonna be going bananas like they were for the playoff game last year. Yep. And it's going to be a great atmosphere. It's going to be a lot of fun.
When you're leading up to a game like that, and I know we've talked about this before, even, we've talked about some games where maybe it was the Texans game, because obviously it was seeing Stephon Diggs for the first time. Some of these games, maybe guys circle them for different reasons. You circle games when it's your brother. Like everyone has their own kind of motivator. And not that it necessarily means more, but maybe just games you look forward to playing and things like that. There's no shortage of storylines, I think, with Kansas City, whether it's Sean McDermott's relationship with Andy Reid, whether it's, the Bills passing on Patrick or trading out of that spot and taking Patrick Mahomes next year, Josh Allen. Like there's all these various storylines in that regard. I guess, we've always talked about that being maybe more of a media driven thing versus you guys, but do you ever find guys that have kind of their own reasons that you might not expect in those kind of key game moments like we're seeing with Kansas City here?
Yeah, I think, most of those, a lot of it is obviously media driven. Guys understand that, but a lot, I think a lot of what you see motive wise for guys is playing a team that they came from. Right. Or something, something along those, they're looking to get revenge on a team that they came from that didn't sign them back or whatever kind of. So, and it's like that across, every team has guys that play, you're going to play the team that you came from eventually, I guess, if you stick around long enough. But, that's probably the biggest thing. I think, on a personal level, some of that stuff you normally don't hear about because either it's not shared or guys I guess maybe don't want to make it public. But it's it's no secret that we've apart from I think the AFC Championship game they beat us by a couple touchdowns. I don't know if it was that next season. In the regular season, it was a rain game, it was a regular season game. We beat them there. I think Micah Hyde had a pick six. I can't remember if that was the next year or not, but
I think so.
21 maybe. Tyreek Hill was still there. So apart from those two games, every game is within a score or 5 or 6 points there at the end. With one team, driving to win the game. So, it's going to be, it's going to be a close game. We're expecting a close game and we're expecting, a battle till there's 0-0 on the clock.
And the last thing I'm going to ask you about this, and I know you're probably going to be fair to them just because it's you're a fair guy. But what do you make of when you see people complaining about whether it used to be Tom Brady or now it's Patrick Mahomes, kind of getting the calls or having the refs in their pocket? And you're right on the field. You see it probably better than anyone. Does it ever actually feel that way to you guys, or is it really just something that as fans we feel it because we're watching on TV type of thing? And I know you can't directly criticize the refs, but just in your own interpretation, do you guys, whether it's Mahomes or anyone else, do you ever kind of feel like guys get more calls than other guys?
That's a great question. I think it's really week to week, but I think it's game situation dependent. Because I think if you are in a close game, right, you're a little more in tune to the nitpicky stuff that happens, right? If it's a blowout in the fourth quarter and something happens, you just kind of shrug it off, right? So I think it kind of depends on game situation, really. And so, I don't want to be, obviously I'm not going to sit here and say I'm unbiased towards the team that I play on, right? Is there some stuff that we have probably overlooked over the years? I mean, I'm sure there is, right? There's calls every week that are
head scratchers
for every team, right? Every game has at least one. I don't care if you're watching the Thursday night game, the Monday night game, whoever is playing. That's probably that's my stance on it. I think it's very situation dependent, and just because you really you really dial in when it's a one score game, and late in the third quarter, right, and you're in the red zone and somebody gets picked the wrong way. It's but they don't call it.
Yeah.
But they score, they score a touchdown, but they don't call it, and you feel slighted. But
it's under the microscope.
At the same time,
more.
on the next drive, you get roughing the passer on, the other team roughs your guy, and you're like, did he dive a little bit? Like, did he sell it a little bit? And you're like, they gave us that call. It goes both. I think it goes both ways. That's really my honest opinion. Yeah.
And I think, I'll say it. I think Josh Allen is kind of the king of both. Sometimes he's the king of selling a call, and we've seen it. He's great at it, and good for you if you can do that. But then there's other times, I think even in the Indy game, we all saw it looked like he got punched in the helmet like 5 times, and there was no call on it. So it's like you said, it's a very volatile thing, and I think that's maybe more the frustration than anything. It's not so much even, Mahomes gets all the calls. It's almost just like the inconsistency behind some of the calls that sometimes I think people struggle with, because if Josh is getting the same calls as Mahomes, it's a little less annoying to fans as if it feels like it's only on one side of things.
Understandable. Definitely.
So, as we kind of transition here, one thing I did want to hit on before we get into the bye week, my oversight here, when we transition back to the veterans for a moment, you have referenced your special teams coach, Matt Smiley, and I wanted you to have a moment to speak on that, because that was a pretty cool thing that you mentioned earlier. Yeah,
so the team selected my special teams coach, Matthew Smiley, as the Salute to Service Award nominee for this year. I've been the rep the past couple of years. Coach McDermott has been the rep before, and a couple of players and coaches along the years. But Coach Smiley got it this year. He's the team nominee, and just super happy for him to be able to be recognized for such a high honor. Really because he served in the Air Force. During the 9/11 year, the early, I guess when he was in when it happened, and then the couple years after that, and just have the utmost respect for him and what he's served for our country for 4 or 5 years, and just extremely happy for him to be able to. They're going to recognize him in the stadium on Sunday, and it's going to be great, and just really happy for him, and I appreciate what he's done for me, and appreciate what he's done for us and our country.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, congratulations to him. That's a great moment
Definitely.
There for him and his family, I'm sure. So, as we wrap up here on this edition of the Team West Herr Podcast, I did want to ask you, the bye week's coming up. So I know you can't look too far ahead of that because you got a big game first, but any special plans for you or the family for that week off? I know it's a very long season, so you only get certain windows of downtime, and what's in store for you guys?
So last year we, a lot of family time, obviously, just kind of taking a mental break a little bit. But last year we had sort of the same bye week. It was around end of November-ish, and got a lot of Christmas shopping done. So I will say I've got lists a little bit made already. I kind of know what I'm buying for, a handful of the people that we shop for. And I'm going to try to knock a lot out next week, or I guess next week on the bye week. So looking forward to doing that. I that's one of my favorite things to do every year. Is to A, shop for people, and then B, hopefully be there when they open it, whether it's my family or guys on the team, or if we like to do a family through the Punt Foundation every year, a couple families through that. We like to do one as a family, but also the specialists, we like to get together and shop for a family in need. So that's been extremely rewarding for us the last couple of years, is to be able to do that and kind of share that with some families. But family time and Christmas shopping, I think, is probably what is going to take up the bulk of my bye week.
Awesome. Well, so Reid will be spending time with Santa Claus coming up here pretty soon. So we're looking forward to that. Again, make sure you check out Reid's event coming up on the 16th. Visit his social channels for more information. Once again, that is called Thank A Vet BBQ. Sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. And then, guys, stay tuned, because in our next episode, we're going to have a very special Thanksgiving edition here with community service liaison Dion Dawkins, as we get a chance to sit down with him and talk about some family traditions, turkey, all the fixins on the sides. Reid shares his family traditions as well. I'll talk about mine, and it'll be a really good episode. So stay tuned for that. But for Reid Ferguson, I'm Brad Gelber. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of the Team West Herr Podcast.